What's up, chaotic heathens? Welcome back to Half-Ass Witchery.
One, two, three, four.
Throw hands, make some reckless decisions, and pretend like we've got our lives together. But before we do all of that, let's talk about a little bit of a catch up. We did skip Pisces season. It's not because I don't matter, even though I'm the only Pisces on this podcast that does matter at the moment.
Baby, you the only Pisces that matters in my life. You my heart and soul and part of my part of the secret quintuple I have not told Mountain Man about. You don't date Mountain Man. He just doesn't know it yet.
I am the only Pisces on this show that matters, but not the only person. This is my co-host Vanessa. And of course, you know me,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
Micah.
I'm saying I'm eating my lunch. Y'all gonna the audience is just gonna have to deal with that shit.
Okay. So Vanessa's taking a lunch break. I feel like we're already very much in the Aries season spirit because I almost forgot to introduce you, which was very selfish. And you are disregarding the audience by just saying, fuck it, I'm going to eat my stuff. And I don't care if you guys have feelings about it. I feel like we're already in the Aries spirit. Like, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. So, before we get into all that we have going on today, first of all, I want to say I hope everybody is doing well. We have a lot to talk about today on Half-Ass Witchery. We are trying to get things a little bit more structured. It is a new year. Sorry, January. Sorry, not sorry. But it is a new year astrologically. Aries season is the beginning of the astrological new year. And so it is a great time for resolutions. And we will be talking all about that coming up. However, we need to do a catch up first. Vanessa, you want to start? How have you been?
Oh, I've been fucked up. I've been way fucked up,
Tell us
people.
about it.
Today I look. So I am not going to disregard Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin is a great drug for people that are not me.
Mhm.
I learned I probably should not be on Wellbutrin because I was on Lexapro. Lexapro works for me. Lexapro and Wellbutrin are two different drugs. They hit two different parts of your brain. And apparently I don't make enough serotonin. The rest of it,
Oh.
like the epinephrine and the dopamines and all that other stuff that the Wellbutrin does, that's fine. I can deal with that all day. But my serotonin, I have none. I have no fucking serotonin. And I learned this in the last couple of weeks. Pisces season. Oh my God, girl, I was a Pisces. like, like I was
Were you feeling
crying. I was angry. I hated everyone. I loved everyone.
this was a very fiery Pisces season. I will say that we had lots of retrogrades going on. There were lots of tears going on because we had Mercury
Mm-hmm.
and Venus retrograde, and then we had a eclipse that was followed by Mercury retrograde, of course. And so everybody was really
Yeah.
feeling the feels, whether you wanted to or not.
Mars retrograde too.
Like Mars, yeah, it's like we didn't even really get a breather because Mars finished
Yeah.
its retrograde, I think, like on the 23rd of February. And then on March 1st, Venus went retrograde. So we had like a week, less than a week actually, to like
Yeah.
recover from retrograde feelings. And then we were just dumped into eclipse season as well as two planets going retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
So I was feeling all of it. It's been it was bad. It was bad. I'm gonna have to go see somebody for that. I am seeing somebody for that, so I'm gonna have to tell her. I'm like, hey, Wellbutrin, not my jam apparently. So you thought it was because I was mourning my dog. No, it just doesn't work. But um, as of this record, I called my mom for her birthday because my mom is a
Okay.
Pisces, which
Yes.
makes a whole lot of damn sense. And today is my mom's birthday, which happens to be St. Patrick's Day. So I called her and I actually had a
Nice.
decent conversation with her. And I'm not saying my mom is a race traitor because she's old, but she's still friends with people that support Trump. And she's like, "Oh, look what my," she goes, "Look what like my friends got me, like the two that don't support Trump and then the two that support Trump, like I guess chipped in and got her this really nice jewelry set." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love how blah 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 got you that." And my
Mhm.
mom goes, "And so and so." I'm like, "I don't acknowledge those people." She did not like that. I'm like, no, I'm not acknowledging those people. So if they're watching my stuff because they're like, because my dad's like, oh yeah, Vanessa's doing this and she's on a podcast now and she does talk all of her weird witchy stuff, and they come and see this, yeah, I don't acknowledge your ass. If you support Trump, I ain't acknowledging shit. I'm in my Aries moment. Micah, tell me about yourself. How how has
So, I was
your
actually gonna
birthday
ask
season?
you, have you I was actually gonna ask you for Aries season, like, have you made any, like, reckless decisions? Like, have you had, like, any bursts of motivation? Have you started any fights? Have you almost been in a fight? Let us know.
So yeah, let us know. And I will say that this is definitely the Aries season is where started. It is where I start feeling my like violence may not always be an answer, but it's definitely a statement.
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, I will say that I have been as for like also before I talk about myself, like what or actually I'll save that for after I do my check-in.
Hmm.
Because I want to hear from both of us. What are our individual survival tactics for Aries season?
Violence.
Um
It's always violence.
always violence. Violence is the answer sometimes.
It's
Um
not
I
always
no
the
one
answer. It's
honestly
always a statement.
it's always a statement and it's always an option. Violence is always an option. um so this past month has been interesting. I have actually been in a lot of fights. I have been fighting like almost nonstop. I've been fighting with Amazon, and I've also been fighting with insurance companies. By the
Yeah.
way, Grange Insurance of Columbus, Ohio. Nobody needs to well, I guess if you're like a criminal and you want an insurance company that is going to fight hard to not pay people what they are due, then you should probably go to Grange Insurance
Here's the
because
thing.
they like to cite Reddit for the reasons why they shouldn't have to cover things when their client is at fault. So
Mhm.
if you want a shady insurance company,
Go
go
with
to
Grange.
Grange.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
here's the thing. I'm going to mention this because I'm almost positive this is what happened. Is that
Hmm.
Grange is screwing both you and her.
Probably.
They probably raised her rates to an insane amount,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and then
definitely.
and then they're denying everything they can so they can just profit off of her. And I
Yep.
that is awful. There's a
Yep.
reason why there wasn't a Luigi Mangione in the world.
I was telling a friend of mine that I was like, I have never understood Luigi so much in my life. To
Mhm.
like more so, like I already understood, but
Yeah,
even more so, like this past month and a half,
and
I have understood.
so for legal disclaimers, half-ass witchery does not actually promote violence. Neither does Bea Bruja. We do not promote violence at all. For legal reasons, we do not promote violence. For legal reasons, we do not
For
promote
legal
violence.
reasons. For legal reasons.
Half-ass witchery, Bea Bruja, and Eden Itero do not promote violence or encourage violence for legal reasons.
For legal reasons.
But
Like
we do
Libra,
want you to make
legal reasons.
we want you guys to make a strong statement when you can.
We want you to have all the options on the table.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's what I've been doing is a lot of arguing with these big name companies, which honestly is fueling my Aquarius stellium. really saying fuck it to the man by not just rolling over and taking what they're trying to give me, and just being an absolute nuisance. If anything else, I might lose this case with Amazon, but the fact that I've annoyed them enough to the point that they have responded, I intend to continue doing that until I can't anymore. So, sometimes choosing violence isn't always physical violence. Sometimes it's just being an absolute annoyance. So,
Violence comes in all forms. We do not promote
violence
physical
comes
violence,
in
but
all forms, and we don't
verbal
discriminate.
violence is perfectly legal.
Yes, yes.
Verbal violence is perfectly legal. Be so far, be so far up, like, not be so obnoxious to these people who are just taking advantage of us that they
Hmm.
just will do anything to shut us up. They actually start paying their taxes.
By the
I'm all
way,
for it.
like I love that the American people have like the majority of the American people have chosen violence against Target. I love it. I love it so
Oh, the
much.
protesting.
Target, yes. Target is losing billions of dollars right now to the point where I
They are
saw on
choosing.
TikTok that somebody that one Target actually put a sign on the door saying that they're saying some bullshit like, "Oh, we're being conscious about like our impact on the environment." And so for for the next couple of hours, we're going to be turning off a majority of the lights on our store as well as turning off the air conditioner, to be mindful of the environment. And I'm like, bitch, you just can't pay that bill. And so you got to
Mhm.
get that bill down because nobody's shopping.
Right.
Environment, my ass. Like,
Fucking liars. Liars.
But I haven't
Ugh.
made any reckless decisions. I think because of everything that's been happening so far, I have had to I've had to be very like overly intentional about a lot of my
Mhm.
actions. And so I will say that impulsivity might have entered my mind, but because of the things that I am going through right now, I've had to squash it really quickly. And I've started using ChatGPT to respond to lots of emails,
Mhm.
honestly, so that I don't like choose emotional, so that I choose professional verbal violence. Um, and I am taken seriously. So
Yes.
ChatGPT has been my best friend.
I'm afraid that
Um,
YouTube is going to take this video down.
I
The amount of
mean,
times we keep saying violence.
I mean, we'll
We're not
see.
promoting
This
it.
We're not. We are just saying we could be talking about any kind of violence. We could be like, the violence out
We're
in the
talking about the
streets is crazy. It's
yeah,
just a
we're talking about
word.
the legal kind, the protestings, and we shouldn't be saying that because you know what? That'll encourage the
We're not
Orange
monetized right now. It's
Julius.
fine.
Yeah, but I don't want Orange
It's
Julius getting a hold of that and using that as a reason why
if he
he hold
does,
he
fuck
could
you.
Guantanamo Bay more protesters like he did that one dude.
Hmm.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck you and fuck that asshole. You're that South African racist asshole. You're like a.
Diabetic. There
Oh
are some
yeah.
people. Speaking of Aries season, there are some people that I think just won't die out of spite, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's what Donald Trump is doing right now. Is because
I
there
feel
are
like
all
that's the
kinds
case.
of health issues. You cannot tell me this man eats McDonald's every day and does is not like this close to a heart attack, but
Mm-hmm.
somehow he's still alive. I think he's staying alive out of spite right now, and I
I
need it
honestly
to
feel like that.
stop. Anyway, Aries season, the good, bad, and the reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Cue the young and the reckless music. I feel like this is actually very much Aries season because we're just kind of everywhere.
Yeah, we
So
really are.
Aries season. Aries season, it is the actual new year. If you didn't know that, you know it now. It is the first sign of the astrological wheel. It is spring. It is when we are leaving behind winter. Sorry, Capricorn
Yeah.
season, which is what starts out winter. I was actually just talking about this. Jesus, I'm going on another tangent really quick, but I swear it's fast. Winter is the only season that gets to um that gets celebrated or we get to see twice in 1 year
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we start the year with
I
it.
remember I made
So
that a really good
Capricorn season,
riddle.
yeah. So Capricorn season is technically like seen twice because we
Yeah.
start the year with it and we end the year with it. So it gets its own shine twice a
Yeah. So let
year.
Aries have this, Capricorn. So step the fuck back. Let them be a new year.
Yes. So, what kind of resolutions do you have for your Aries season, Vanessa?
Well, obviously, it's to be more professional. Hence, our new platform that that we're now doing our recordings on. We're no longer on
Hmm.
Zoom, and to grow my business a bit more.
Hmm.
To have like a more stringent schedule as far as my business and so I have a better work life balance.
Nice.
What about you, Micah? What
I
do you
was
got going on for New Year's?
to get my tarot and astrology courses all finished up. I just keep getting so busy with other things that
Hmm.
I have finished maybe about half of both of those classes, but I still had to finish the other half because I said that my website would go back up in March and that those classes would be available when the website goes back up. And here we are in March, and so I have moved March to like the end of March when Aries season begins. Now it's moved from March to Aries season, which technically could go into April. So it is my Aries season New Year's resolution to have my website back up, to continue to grow my business. Because what's so funny is I have had, if you know me, you know I've had a lot of ups and downs with Eden I Tarot, as far as, just kind of learning. It's a learning curve. And they say that every business takes at least 3 years to turn a profit. And that's no
Hmm.
exception to being an astrologer or tarot reader, even though
For
being a
sure.
tarot reader definitely does get you the money faster. Um, because more people know what tarot is. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about the kind of like the ups and downs with like sometimes it gets exhausting. And so there have been plenty of times like within these last like 3-4 years that I've given up. But my goal is to be more consistent with posting, because no matter how many times I quit and I want to like almost like bury the idea of Eden Eye Tarot, my Eden Eye Tarot TikTok channel continues to get new followers. Shit. No, it
Hmm.
was all coming from those Juno videos that I had posted a long time ago. But yeah, that is my resolution, is to continue to one, have my business be my full-time job, because this economy is shit. And so I already am not somebody that is very good with working underneath somebody else. It's just the consistency with working for myself that I have to work on. So um yeah, something I wanted to talk more about, since we're talking about like arguments and things like that. Aries are known for being, some would say, aggressive. Some, I think they're just high energy. But whenever people think about Mars or just Aries energy, they think about like throwing hands. Vanessa, do you think you as a Gemini could throw hands with an Aries and come out on top? Pun intended.
The fuck yes. Until I
Okay.
actually get into the fight, and then I'm fucked. Fucked. I will get my ass handed to me, but I will go in there thinking I can kick their ass.
You know what? I think that's actually like a very like Gemini thing. Like I think that's a very Gemini strategy, is like to talk yourself up and be like, yeah, I can do
Yeah,
that. I can do that.
I can do that. I
And
will do
then
that.
when you actually get it, then when you actually get
Gemini.
there, you're like, no. Um, as a Pisces, I think I could. However, Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which is the planet that rules over poison. And so
Mhm.
it depends on what do you consider as fighting. Because I think Pisces, we would we would just poison Aries before the fight even starts. We would slip something into there.
Oh no. No,
If
you
anybody's
guys are.
read Fourth
I know
Wing,
how Pisces is gonna do this. You guys, you're gonna be so sweet, and you're gonna be like, "Oh man, Aries, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean
I
that."
baked you these
Here,
cupcakes. I
Yeah.
baked you these cupcakes and then just not mention the fact that Aries is allergic to like orange peels, and then it's like infused the cupcakes infused with orange.
Right. Like, oops, I didn't know you had a peanut allergy.
I didn't know. Monster in Law. If anybody's seen Monster in Law, that scene where Jane Fonda poison or she puts nuts into Charlie's dinner, that is a Pisces move.
Mhm.
Hmm. So Pisces, I think we would win because we were being deceitful ahead of time. And so it depends on what do you consider as winning. Because if
Yeah.
that works as winning, yeah, I think we win. I think that either that or I think we would go in and we would completely black out and we would kill somebody. That's what I think would also happen. Because never forget that Pisces are at the top of the list of serial killers. So
Yeah, and also let's also bring up what is fighting exactly? Like, if it was a verbal sparring, oh yeah, I'm like I'm just gonna talk you into believing that I'm right. I
mhm.
will talk nonsense until you're just like, all right, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But I
Like,
think like that I wonder with Aries, with a Gemini, like how would that go? Because honestly, I've seen that. Like I
I,
feel like
I,
Aries would still win because they just don't run out of energy, and Gemini would eventually be like, "This is stupid, and I'm done talking slash listening to you. So goodbye."
and that would be in my eyes that would be winning.
Okay. Yes.
That would be winning.
All right.
All right, people, you watching this? You on if you're watching
We
this
want to
on
hear from
YouTube,
you.
obviously, I want to hear this. Like, what do you call fighting, and what do you call winning? And do you think you can take on an Aries?
Yes. And have you been in a fight with an Aries? Do you have field experience with
Mhm.
this topic?
Yeah. Do you have field experience with an Aries? I love that. Yes. Like, are you a veteran of war against an Aries?
Yes. All right, so we've talked about fighting an Aries, but let's kind of like dial
Mhm.
it back. As far as like entering a verbal issue with an Aries, like I think Aries people are really good at making or like setting boundaries. Fair.
For sure.
However, I have seen that not all Aries are good at respecting boundaries. So, like, I want to hear from you, Vanessa, first. How do you think it's best to kind of um, navigate setting boundaries with an Aries? Or do you, again, have any field experience with that?
So I actually just have field experience with boundary stompers in general because I'm raised by Puerto
Mhm.
Ricans.
Ah.
And anyone in a Latin family knows they don't believe in boundaries. We're all enmeshed together in our trauma. So for boundaries in general, like I mean, I will just straight up tell an Aries like, no, that's not cool. Don't do that shit to me. Like, I'm not cool with that, and I will. And if you, I'm like, and this is your only warning. Do it again, and I cut you the fuck off.
Mhm. No,
And
and I
they're
honestly
they're
think,
supposed to be
mhm.
pretty good about that.
Yeah. No, and I think honestly, because I do have field experience with uh, boundaries with Aries as well,
That explains the
in
1,000 yard
particular.
stare.
Yeah. I think with mine, my experience, it's just been, unfortunately, it has been like, I will cut you off. Um, it's explaining the boundaries first, because I think especially with Aries children, but let's be honest, all Aries people
Our children,
are children at heart. And that's not completely an insult, because sometimes you need to have that childlike spirit to be able to achieve
yes,
the amount of things that Aries people do. But a child is still a child, and I will say that it's two sides of the same coin. And so a lot of times when I'm in arguments with Aries, it is like I'm arguing with a child, and so I will try to explain my boundary first. And if they persist past the description and they still say it's right, then that is usually when I'll be like, okay, fine. You don't have to worry about talking to me again. Because let's remember, Aries is ruled by Mars, which is the planet about that has to do with conflict, but it also has to do with cutting things off. And so I think with setting boundaries with Aries, I'm not saying that you have to cut off every Aries that crosses a boundary with you. Because obviously there are lots of circumstances that could be missing in each individual person's like interaction with them. But what I am saying is there does need to be some sort of cutoff, is to say, this is my boundary. Here's why. Because I think descriptions for Aries are very helpful with getting them to respect your boundaries. They want to understand why,
Mhm.
or else it's not going to make sense to them. Especially, and I get that more so from dealing with Aries children, like actual Aries children. That seems to work very well with them. Also, it's just astrologically true. But we see that being, something, but and then like giving them not an ultimatum, because that will just put them into fight mode, but saying, here's your description. I'm not talking about this anymore. I've said what I'm saying. So you're throwing down the gauntlet, essentially, and that's how you cut things off. So if you even
Mhm.
if you don't cut them off, you cut off the conversation. There is no negotiating around it.
Oh yeah.
You're very direct with them because they are always direct with other people. And so yeah, stand on business and do this and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and they
but
do appreciate that more.
yeah,
They for sure
yeah,
appreciate that more. Like when you were just like, no, this is my business. Like this is my line, and this is why it's my line, and you need to learn to respect that. They
yeah,
they're quick to pick up on that, and they're quick to do it. So yeah, absolutely,
yes,
stand on business when it comes to Aries. Which I have
yes.
to say, I do love the Aries because they're not like Leos. They're not delusional about their grandeur.
Hmm.
They know when they know when they fuck up, and they know when to apologize.
So, um, Aries season, just for those that may not be aware, Aries season is starting on March 20th, 2025, and it runs all the way until I do believe April 20
April 21st.
21st. I was like, is it the 20th or the 21st? April 21st, I do believe. So the full 30 days um is Aries season for 2025. Um, so we're running into April, which brings me to our next topic, which is April's astro weather. Some things you want to note for April. April, we are starting off with a bang because March 30th, Neptune, which has been in Pisces forever. As a Pisces, Aries, I'm gifting you Neptune. It's your problem now because I had that shit on my sun and in my sign for fucking forever. Enjoy it. Because I'll certainly enjoy giving it to you. Passing it off. It's your problem now. Enjoy. Enjoy endless confusion and indecisiveness and just not knowing if your life is gonna turn out okay or not. Like, just enjoy that. Anyway.
I love
And
that.
then also asking yourself, are you crazy or are you just psychic? Enjoy that. Have fun. Enjoy.
Also remember,
Yes. Enjoy asking yourself, do I need to be medicated or am I just psychic like that?
well, first of all, let's be clear. Aries already asks themselves that every day. They're just gonna be really, really just going to be all the Aries born on this day. That's just going to be their core personality going forward.
Oh my
All
god.
the Aries born this year, this will be their core personality.
I'm not gonna say it's all bad because starting April off, I do like the vibe it kind of brings, especially as we get into Taurus season. Because Neptune and Aries is gonna bring like idealism as well as impulsivity based off of that idealism. And so I think it is good to see the potential in things. However, Aries is about the self, and so it like Mars is the ruler of Aries, and so it's gonna like almost amp up Neptune. And Neptune doesn't have any boundaries, which we already talked about boundaries. So every Aries that you know, for people that are not Aries, just remember that what we talked about with boundaries, and all my Aries people, remember that just because you have boundaries does not mean that other people are not allowed to have boundaries too. So, and also for Aries people, remember that you have the power. Neptune can sometimes make you feel powerless and therefore make you feel like you can't have boundaries. So just beware of that. I'm not trying to make this an Aries season roast. However, am saying that Aries people will become increasingly insufferable a little bit. What's so funny is I do love Aries people. Some of the people I love the most are Aries people. Does it always work out? No. But I every time I meet an Aries person, I instantly like them. Their energy is infectious. They are so charismatic, and you usually would not associate that with Aries because everybody always talks about how like aggressive they are. But when that energy is put in a positive like setting in an appropriate outlet, they are some of the funnest people and the most like lighthearted slash innocent people that you will ever meet.
Mhm.
They like because remember like Aries is the first sign, and so there is a innocence quality about them. And so a lot of the times when they are stepping on your toes, they didn't mean to step on your toes. They just were thinking about themselves and trying to get to where they were trying to go. So
To give you guys some grace, you Aries people, some grace. No, we love you, but I have been with some Aries before. But to give you guys some grace, they are very goal oriented, and when they have a goal, nothing else. They have tunnel vision. So
mhm,
you have to appreciate that that's what's going on, but you also have to remind them that there are other people around them.
yes.
So that is the double edged sword of Aries. They're very awesome with getting a goal done with a goal, and they are fantastic at achieving their goal. But hot damn, everybody else, you are all screwed if you're in its way.
April 7th, Mercury goes direct. So we are finally done with Mercury retrograde. Just be very careful about that post shadow. Mercury is not done with its retrograde shenanigans just yet, just because it goes direct because it's still in Pisces on
Yes.
April 7th. But on April 16th, it'll re enter Aries, which, surprise, surprise, you think you're also out of the woods at that time. You are not, because Neptune will be there. And so lots of confusion and lots of, oh my God, why did I just say that? Why did I just tweet that? That's going to be the vibes of that.
Mhm.
Watch out for keyboard warriors while Neptune is in Aries, but especially when Mercury is conjunct Neptune in Aries. Keyboard warriors will be on the hunt.
Mhm.
Um there we also will see Venus go direct on April 12th, but Venus will be in Pisces, and so we have a nice like revisit into Venus being in its exaltation. But I would be very conscious of this will be more so in May, but or in the like the last half of the month in April, is there will be a lot of opportunity for love bombing to happen.
Not the
Yes,
love
not
bomb
the
kind.
good kind, the
Mhm.
bad kind, because Venus will eventually conjunct Neptune and sextile Pluto. And just remember, since Pluto is in Aquarius, it's not just romantic partners that can love bomb you. Sometimes it's your friends. I have said this before is like while I have experienced love bombing with romantic partners, a lot of the times I'm willing to call it out more with, or not even willing to call it out more, that I notice that friends have their own version of love bombing you. If I meet somebody, and I've met a lot of people like this, where I'll meet them and we've only hung out once. And all of a sudden, the next time we hang out, the second time we hang out, they're like, oh my God, I love you. Or as I'm leaving, they're like, love you. Love bombing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's not make it weird. So yeah, just be very aware of love bombing. Venus is going to be in Pisces the majority of April, which is amazing, but just be aware of that. It's also going to revisit some of the Venus retrograde lessons that we hopefully learned when we're talking about the new moon, or sorry, the full moon in Libra. We will have a new moon in Taurus that's happening on the 27th. That's very sensual, very indulgent, because it's also going to be ruled by Pisces, Venus in Pisces, as well as the full moon in Libra is also going to be ruled by Venus in Pisces. So we have two moons in April. that are ruled by Venus in its exaltation. So there's a lot of opportunity to fortuitous meetings of people, whether it be friends, romantic, whatever, to smooth out any kind of conflict with others, to get money, get the bag. There's a lot of good opportunities for that as long as you learned your Venus retrograde lesson. Okay. So make sure that while Venus is retrograde, you don't fuck it up and that
Yeah.
you're learning things that you are, as I think I said this in another video, make sure that you are not, that you stop thoughting and you start thinking. Make sure you're doing that. I'm going to
Yes,
say it
that is.
again. Make sure you stop thoughting and make sure you start thinking. um, the last part of April, I am very interested to see what comes out because there's a Mars Pluto um opposition, and that is going to be brutal. And
Yeah.
that's going to be on April 27th. And I think that we're going to see a lot of like secrets, financial fraud news, as well as like sex crimes news come out. Because Lilith is going to be also opposite the sun at that time in Scorpio. And so I think definitely a lot of sex crimes kind of things are going to be like
Ooh,
happening.
ooh. Do we get to find out more
Um,
about what Diddy was hiding?
That's what I wanna know. I wanna know, does this possibly have to do with Diddy's trial? Because I was like, I was gonna ask, I was like, "Does anybody know when Diddy's trial is?" Like,
Yeah.
because that could be it. Because it's definitely gonna have to do with Mars and Leo. It's gonna have to do with some big celebrity or some leader of some sort. Some major figure is gonna be at the
Yeah.
center of
So
all
I
this. And
am.
so I was like wondering, yeah, like when
I'm.
is Diddy's next
Yeah. I'm
trial?
looking that
Like,
up. I'm actually going to be looking. I'm looking that up right now. So yeah.
yes,
So we are looking at
it's
May
just gonna
5th.
say. Ooh, yes, because that'll still be active. Yep.
Yeah.
It very much may be because we'll still have those vibes still going into May, like I said. And so just be aware of that. So that is an overview of April's forecast. Let me know if you guys have any questions that have to do with that.
So some tips and tricks as we're talking about that.
Hmm.
I'm going to suggest people from an herbal standpoint to have on your hand some Damiana
Hmm.
for some of those more lustful, romantic, fortuitous meetings.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, have a bay leaf in your wallet. That is a herbal. That is kind of a green witch trick. You put a bay leaf in your wallet to help with finances. This is actually a really, given the forecast, given what we're looking at, this is actually a really great time to start making intention jars and grease pouches that focus on strengthening your resolve and your confidence, as well as getting you focused for your next steps in whatever your goal is, whether it is romantic or financial.
All right. So we have reached everybody's favorite part of the episode,
Where
the
I flash my
tarot
tits.
pulls. The tarot pulls for all the signs for Aries season. So grab your wine, grab your popcorn, your snacks, whatever,
If you don't drink
notebooks.
wine, grab your tea.
Yes. Settle in. We are about to talk about the predictions. We're going to do the one card tarot pulls for all the signs. If you are wondering which sign to pay attention to most, I don't know about Vanessa, but when I talk about predictions as far as tarot or astrology, I'm usually always talking about your rising sign, since the rising sign sets up your whole chart. So if you know your rising sign, go with that sign first and then go to your sun sign. If you obviously not everybody knows their rising sign. So
Yes,
yeah.
because yeah, as I think, and that's an episode we should talk about during Aquarius season about how rising
Mm,
signs is kind of a privilege to know.
yes,
Yeah.
it is.
So I'm actually talking about your sun sign because yes, you guys are not everybody is aware of their
although
rising sign.
although you can actually find out your rising sign. It's called rectifying a chart, which you can pay an astrologer to do. but it is
She's
an
good
hour
at it.
long session. It
Mhm.
is an hour long session where I ask you a whole lot of questions and we nail down the most likely culprit
Mhm.
that is your rising sign. And so that's called a rectifying a chart. So we're working backwards essentially. And I have to ask you a whole bunch of questions about your life. So be prepared for that. If you really want to find out your rising sign, you can. You don't have to know your time, but you do have to answer a lot of questions. So, with that being said, and that service will be available when EdenITarot.com is back up.
Yeah. But until then, you can always just reach out to her on TikTok and then Venmo her. All links are below. So,
You could. I'm not opposed to doing Venmo transactions. It's only that scammers on TikTok run rampant, but I also will never contact you. You would have to contact me for all of that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, yes. Also, when we talk about, or by the time this episode goes up, we will have a TikTok page for Half-Ass Witchery,
Yes.
as well as a YouTube page for Half-Ass Witchery. We will have that up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
follow us on there. Vanessa, you want
So
to
I
start with Aries?
Aries, my people, happy birthdays. Hope you're all doing well. Cool. So, Ace of Swords. This is your card for your season, and I love it because, of course, you are not letting Neptune get in your way for shit. So, you guys are coming up with ideas. You guys are going for those ideas as you guys do. But remember, other people have boundaries, and there are other people who are affected by the trajectory in which you go. So please keep that in mind when you are going after your ideas and when you are going forward with your shit. Ace of Swords, we are looking good for new ideas, new motivations, new like fresh starts, and being able to like talk your way into a crowd because that's what you guys do best. Micah, what do we got?
Taurus. I actually got two cards for you. We have the first card that came up, which is the Lovers. Um, Lovers is a card
Ooh.
of Gemini. It's not just about a relationship, so it's also about our choices. I think some of you are feeling very burdened by relationships. No surprise. Venus, your ruler, has been retrograde, but when we're talking about Venus going direct in Pisces, it's not just a better situation, hopefully, that you're coming out of Venus retrograde with. I think some of you are doing the 10 of Wands, which is the second card that I got, which is you're releasing some of the baggage. Some of you are realizing that some of your relationships just are not working for you, and you're making the choice to let them go. Because Venus and Pisces can very much like the end of a relationship as well, so that it opens up to you being able to manifest the relationship that you want. So that is what I think is happening for you. It's a fresh start in relationships.
Gemini, my people, I'm giving this to you because this is how it was presented to me. Micah doesn't read cards in reverse. I do. Knight of Pentacles. I get it. Like, we are all feeling some kind of way by these planets lately, the way everything is with Mercury in retrograde. We are going to do the very opposite of what we are best at, which is actually making money. We are going to be spending it like we're drunk sailors on leave. Stop it. If you don't have a Virgo in your life, this is when you need a Virgo in your life. Like, don't, but yeah, like we've got to be very careful about how we spend and how we invest our money. I think a lot of us are looking at Dogecoin like it's a good idea. It is not. And we need to know that it is not. We are also looking at the way the economy is and investing in things that we think will actually help us in the long run, and they will not. Stop it. Stop it. Don't spend your money. As a matter of fact, give your mother your fucking wallets right now. Go right now. Give your mom your wallets. Do not touch them until our season, and then we will come back and talk.
Cancer. You got the Knight of Wands. New beginnings. I think it's very much on par for Aries season. This is the last. This is the cardinal season before your season, and so I think you're planting the seeds now for what you want to see in your birthday season. I think you're starting something new. I think you're a little bit extra sensitive as far as As far as just kind of picking up on decisions with relationships in particular, because wands can be about passion, but I also think this is a very creative time for you. So something is happening as far as being creative. However, I want to say more than anything with the Knight of Wands, make sure you're not spreading yourself too thin when it comes to what you're creating. It's good to create, but if you create so many things that you can't keep up with your own creation, nothing will get done. So just make sure that you have structure along with that passion. That is for you, Cancer. This could also be somebody coming in hot and heavy that you have to be like, hold your horses. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Leo, somebody is you were just warned about love bombs, and what's the first thing you do? Get into bad relationships, like and communities because they flattered your damn ego. The Three of Pentacles in reverse. I always remind people that Pentacles is a sign of money, yes, but it's also about security, status, and safety. No, I'm sorry, safety, status, and power. And that is what the Three of Pentacles is saying, is that you are connecting with people who are flattering your ego and then at the same time robbing you of the things that make you feel safe, secure, and powerful. How about you walk away? Not everybody who thinks you're great actually thinks you're great, except for you.
Virgo, you got the Ace of Pentacles, my dear. I love it. I think a lot of you are calling in debts, if I'm being completely honest. You are here to collect. Aries is your eighth house. Aries is your eighth house. And so you have come to collect. You said, I've given you time to save your pennies. Now I'm here to collect. It's a fresh start, and I expect fresh income from my pockets. So you've come to collect. This could be a new job, or it can just be, like I said, taking care of debts, whether it's you that owes them or you calling them in. I think this is you calling them in, though. Some of you could be in debt that you're trying to pay off to really get that fresh start feel. But I think this is more so you trying to find some sort of stability, whether that is like calling in money or resources, calling in favors to be able to set yourself up for where you want to be at the end of the year, starting in Aries season. So that is for you, Virgo.
Libra. It's a good thing you don't owe Virgo any money then. Because you guys got the Ten of Pentacles upright, which I'm happy for. Because this is definitely saying that you are, and again, we're not actually talking about money here. I'm actually talking about your safety, your security, and your power. But you are setting up a legacy for your family, and this is at Aries season being the start of the new year. This is definitely you guys setting up your legacies and getting your future peoples ready for whatever may come, and creating a lot of you are on the path of creating generational wealth, and hopefully nobody will smack you down, but we are definitely looking at you guys making some smart choices for future investments to pay off. Maybe not your lifetime, but definitely in your kids' lifetime.
Scorpio, we got the two. There we go. The Two of Cups. For you, this is all about compassionate communication. I know that sometimes, especially with Mars being retrograde for up until like the end of February this year, which is your traditional ruler, and then Venus going retrograde right after, relationships have probably been hard. They've been going through a bit of a change. You've had to cut some people off. But remember that not everybody needs to be cut off. Sometimes it's all about trying to understand things or approach things with love. And not everything has to be so intense negatively. Sometimes it's just about getting things done and freaking asking for help. You can't do everything yourself. And maybe if you're kind of change like how you ask for things, people will be more The content shared in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All astrological and tarot readings are interpretations based on spiritual practices and should not be considered as definitive predictions, advice, or factual information. The views and opinions expressed here are solely those of the creator and do not reflect any legal, medical, or psychological guidance. Any reference to real-life individuals, events, or legal matters is purely speculative and intended to provide insight into potential astrological or spiritual energies at play. Always exercise critical thinking and discretion when engaging with content related to sensitive or controversial topics. The creator of this video does not endorse or support any harmful actions or ideas and respects the privacy and well-being of all individuals. Please approach all discussions about sensitive subjects with care and respect.